Yanmanasana manute yena hurmano matam tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. Yanmanasana manute yena hurmano matam tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. Now here it says, that which cannot be conceived by the mind, that by which the mind conceives, so they say. Ahu manasana manute yenahur na manaha matam. That's how it's understood. Again, know that alone to be God, not this which people worship. It's not what you think that's God. It is that which enables, that which cannot be visualized, conceived by the mind. Now, the language of the Shastras, whenever they use the mind, they mean the mind and intellect. So the mind can't feel, the intellect cannot comprehend. It is that which enables your mind to feel. It is that which enables your intellect to conceive. Your mind cannot feel, your intellect cannot conceive. That is God. Now, many people misconstrue the height of emotion to be realization. It is not that height of emotion is realization. In fact, when your emotion goes high on its own, what happens when your emotion goes high on its own? Many people in the spiritual field allow their emotions to fly high. RPG, pata hai? When emotions go high, when you feel God.
Guruji, are you getting at like fanaticism and in that direction?
Fanatic is in a negative context.
I see.
You do become fanatic when there's no reasoning, but something when the emotions.
Yeah, you have emotion, but you get there just on blind faith. You just blindly go there without guidance of the intellect. You lose control, and your mind takes over through blind faith.
Again, whether be it fanaticism or blind faith is again in a certain thinking, in a certain angle you're thinking. But when emotions go high towards God, when emotion by itself is left to go wild, which is what people are, the so-called spiritual masters are trying to do this. This is what they're trying to do. They just let your emotions run wild. They just feed the emotion. This sort of they create a euphoria around it. And when the emotions go wild, ungoverned and unpoliced in this euphoria, it creates a certain experience. And it's a very high experience, which they think, they translate it as a spiritual elevated state, which is not so. I don't know whether you have experienced. I'm sure you're not. That's the reason you're struggling to answer. Am I right, Arviji?
I'm not a bhakta, I guess, predominantly. I don't know if that has something to do with
it. Fair enough.
I'm cultivating that part.
You're cultivating that part, yeah. What happens when your emotions let go on its own? अमिता माँ, कोलकाता में क्या होता है?
Kolkata में. So is it a trance state? Trance.
What is? Yes, it is an experience. You are transported to an experience of trance. What is trance?
I think you come to a state of I don't know, super consciousness where you lose control, lose consciousness of your body, and yeah, you lose your bodily functions, your motor and voluntary functions, and people even fall, and yeah. So it's something beyond the body.
Is that spiritual? You described a super conscious experience.
This is my continuous question. When I see people
Okay.
in that state, are they more have they really reached the ultimate, that what we are doing through this process, would it get us to that state? I mean, I don't mean it physically, but what they have arrived at, is that the
That
desired end state? Yeah.
is that experience the real spiritual experience, the spiritual glory that I'm seeking?
Yeah, that's the question.
Uh,
And I feel, because so many people value it, they go to that individual who is in that trance state, and he is able to foresee, and is given a certain position. And because maybe I don't align with that, am I not doing the right thing? So there's a lot of confusion about accepting it or not. Yeah.
and the verse here comes out so strong. He says, that which cannot be visualized by the mind, it is that which enables your mind to visualize. God is not an object of emotion, means your emotion cannot feel God. God can't be felt with emotion. It is that which enables you to feel emotion. That perhaps actually clarifies all the confusion that people have. It is not something you can feel. So if your emotions go high, and in that elevated emotion, you think you have captured God, he's saying nonsense. God cannot be captured in emotion. It is not an object of emotion. All that you're experiencing is a certain ecstatic state where your emotion, when emotion goes ungoverned, unpoliced, when the emotions go high, in fact, that trance is nothing but an emotional indulgence. When people lose their sort of consciousness, it is actually, to not put it in as many words, trance is emotional indulgence equals spiritual weakness, where you get it tantamounts to a certain fanatic adherence to something. You hold on to something fanatically. It's a blindness, as RPG said, but it's happening because of your emotional indulgence. You have lost your sense of composure and control. It's a weakness. Not many look at this way. So the gurus out there are actually feeding it. The guru is jumping and dancing, everybody else jumping and dancing. There's going to be a tamasha going on in a scale which is unfathomable. Mass scale is going on. It's just feeding the euphoria. And neither can we say, oh, we are not like that. We are all intellectuals. RPG, intellectual. We only try to twist and torture these Upanishadic textbooks. He's giving a knock on our head with a hammer. It is not something which can be comprehended by the intellect. So better humble yourself and don't think you're superior to them. It is that which cannot be comprehended by the intellect. It's not that can be felt by the mind, nor can be comprehended by the intellect. What is God? Balaji, God is not that can be felt by the mind, nor can be comprehended by the intellect. Then what is God? Please answer like Balaji, not like that kid.
It's beyond the known and unknown.
So that was the 4th verse, sir. We will come to 6th verse.
Okay, something that
So the statement I'm saying, God is not an object of emotion, not an object of thought. Then what is God? In the previous verse, he said, God is not an object of speech. It can't be captured by speech. It's that which enlivens speech. Means it enlivens the organs of action, we say, isn't it? Now, this verse, he's saying, God can't be felt, nor can it be understood. Then what is God?
God is a subject. It's, I mean, you can't comprehend, you can't perceive, there's no attribution. It's a subject which normal human being can't conceive, can't fathom. It's you know, but yeah.
God is that which enables you to feel, which enables you to comprehend. It is not that can be felt or comprehended. So it is that which enables your mind to feel and your intellect to comprehend. That is what he's saying. That alone is God, not what you people worship here. So all those who think God is certain kind of an elevated spiritual feel, which you can get through emotion, it is not that. It is not it's not to be translated as a spiritual experience. As Amitama has asked, Amitama, trance is not a spiritual, it can't be translated. Now, all through, we have seen in our experience where people get lost and immersed and they get overwhelmed by a situation or in a particular context, they lose their body consciousness and they are, they're called godly people. Please, at least let that be amongst the uneducated, but not that spiritual educated people and don't understand. They should not mistake it that way.
Thank you, sir. This is a great juncture in my spiritual journey today. Thank you.
I'm glad, ma.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Yes, ma. Yes, Lakshmi ma. Ma, could you please unmute yourself, ma?
Not to confuse, but I'm just wondering. So the trance or that exalted state of ecstasy is not God, right? That state, but that which takes you to that state, or that which takes you into that trance form, that is God, but not the trance. Can we say that? I was just thinking aloud.
So God has got nothing to do with a wise act or a vicious act, isn't it? Whether you do a virtuous act or a vicious act, God has got nothing to do with it. But yet you wouldn't have performed that vicious act without God enlivening it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Like it's in a sin and a sinner, a sin and a sage, it's the same, right? The consciousness.
Yeah,
it's just.
But it has got nothing to do with action.
Okay.
It has got nothing to do with the actual state you reach.
But it enables it.
Because it is the enlivening. It's like petrol. You can't blame petrol for the accident you have, can you?
Okay.
The best way to answer is blaming petrol for the accident I had. And just before the accident, you filled the tank because the tank was coming to an end, empty tank. So you had to, timely there was a petrol pump, you pulled in, you filled in the fuel, and right after that, next 200 meters, you had accident. Would you blame the petrol you filled for the accident you had? It is just enlivening. How can you attribute or blame God for anything that's happening?
No,
So you
it's not
can't.
blaming. It's not the enabler. The enabler of whatever action we do, the
That has
action
got
we do
no.
is because of our vasanas, our nature. That's how
Correct.
it manifests. But whatever that enables that is God, right?
Yes.
No.
See, the whole, yes, you're right. That which enable. So the object, what is the objective of the argument? The objective is not to get carried away by the outward charms, but to go inward within. All what he's saying is it is the subject, not the object. So the objective is to draw you inward to your own self. It's a subjective experience. It's not something triggered. It's not something stimulated. It's not something which is experienced outside. It's an internal state. And don't mistake it for a mere intellectual revelation, or don't get mistaken it by a mere emotional, overwhelming experience. This is not God. That is not a godly experience. Don't be fooled by that. That's what the text is trying to convey.